Hi guys. What I've wanted to talk about for a while now that I've been thinking is the idea of spiritual practice. As with anything else in your life, you could only become proficient in a skill through practice. Practice in the sense of repetition, improvement, criticism, guidance, and development of the skills you use, as well as development and increasing knowledge base. And then also the difference between practicing and being proficient in something. Now, I know that many of you would say that with spiritual practice you never become completely proficient, you just reach an end point for a specific goal, and then you carry on and you change your goal and you keep working to that. In the way that I would say that maybe 5 years ago I was a pianist, in the sense that I played regularly, I was proficient, I could sight read about anything, I could sit down and play things with, relative ease, and it felt natural to me. At that time I would say I was a pianist. Now I would say that I am someone who plays the piano. I don't have that emotional connection with the term pianist. I don't have that same level of proficiency. I don't have that same connection. It doesn't come as naturally as it used to, because I'm out of practice. I think this analogy kind of goes hand in hand with when you label yourself as part of a particular spiritual path. I love the way that Sammy Spirit uses the word craft, because it doesn't give anything away. Now, I would still say that 2.5 years down the line from starting using alternative therapies in terms of chakra study and crystals, I'm still no closer to finding what I practice than I was then. I am practicing my path, I'm practicing my craft, but it's certainly not a pagan path, and it's certainly not traditional witchcraft either, or Wicca, and I couldn't label myself anything, and it doesn't matter to me. I've realised it doesn't really matter, because actually what somebody else would call it doesn't change its meaning to me, and if I don't feel the need to name it, then I don't. But I read a very someone posted on their Facebook feed it was a "be careful what you say, words are powerful, that's why they call it spelling." It was Ivy Wind, it was Stephanie, and I thought, actually, that's really interesting. Words are powerful, it's why they call it spelling. Use words wisely, or something like that. And I realised that actually, since I was 11 years old and I wrote my first song, and I connected with the art of lyric writing alongside kind of my musical base, I have been using words in a specific order that's almost calculated with intent. And it's not about witchcraft then, it's about the words and about how I connect with language. Since I left my training post at the end of September and I registered as a pharmacist in November, I haven't had any more work. And during that time, I came off morphine tablets. I had 6 weeks of absolute hell where I didn't know whether I was coming or going, and it was everything. It was physical, it was mental, it was spiritual, because of how isolated I felt in a place where I was surrounded by people who I knew really well, and they knew me really well. And I almost felt like I was in a parallel to them. I was in the room, but I couldn't access it. It was like I was on a parallel plane. And I lost a lot of confidence over quite a short amount of time, mostly because of how active I'd been before. Active not in the physical sense, but in terms of, working and the rate at which I was consuming information. In order to study for my exam and to become a pharmacist, and obviously dealing with all my patients every day, just that pace was completely gone, and I was in no fit state to be of use to anybody. It was just something that needed doing, so I did it. And then I realised how much more I felt I was achieving just by writing in my journal. And I think I've now started to associate the act of writing with processing information and retaining information and learning. And, maybe 6 months ago I was particularly journaling. Now I'm not really doing anything. I'm not... I've had, some job interviews, but I'm going to hospital next month, so I'm not looking to be working right now. And as soon as I didn't really have the massive emotional baggage of going through something like morphine withdrawal, I haven't had a lot to write about, to be honest. But what I have been doing is I've been writing a lot more based on what I've been reading. I've obviously kept my normal study up of my craft, if you like, so, more about psychic ability and crystals and altar setups and colour correspondences that aren't your standard chakra colours, and I got the newer issue of Simon Lilly's Crystals, Chakras and Altars book, again for pittance. I don't know how these people make a profit on these books when I buy them second hand. And since, I'm just trying to think, since when? Probably in the last 6 to 8 months, I have completely filled this notebook with study and my journal and all sorts. And I've made a good headway into this, and this is all craft, and the back is all journal stuff. And I've recently started this. Now this is a beautiful book that my darling Janet bought me for my birthday, and it looks like Vincent van Gogh's sketchbook with his handwriting on it and his signature, and it's magnetic, and the book's beautiful inside. It's plain paper, and these are the notes that I've been writing for a book that I am writing with a friend of mine. It's a pharmaceutical visualization crossover book. It's still in very early stages. It's not really worth explaining. But yeah, and I felt that the physical act of writing has been the healing part, more so than what I've actually been writing about. And it's healing in terms of purpose, in terms of my ideas of being proactive, in terms of a lot of things, really. And I feel that I've grown a lot recently, just in terms of my practice, because of my knowledge base. I've just subscribed to Soul and Spirit magazine, which, although it is very horoscope based, has some amazing articles about different gods and goddesses and different Norse, Icelandic, Greek mythology. That's something I've always been interested, though. I've always loved Greek mythology. It's just hard, I'm not going to sit down and I'm not going to read the Odyssey, and it's heavy work, and to be honest with you, that's what I can't do. I can't read the heavy things that don't come naturally to me. I have all of the foundations of my pharmaceutical knowledge in my head, so reading something new is already based on what I know, whereas trying to learn something new, like reading Homer, would be impossible for me with my cloudy, fentanyl head. I've come off my morphine tablets. I'm still on the patches and the liquid, and the pain. I mean, it's just I just couldn't stick with it. But I have been learning a lot about astrology, and this has been incredible. This is Llewellyn's Pocket Planner. It's actually an American book, and most of the timings are in Eastern and Pacific time. But it's fine. I've finally mastered the time conversions after, I don't know, how long has it been since Tiptoe Chick was on Stickham? I don't know, but I've needed to be on the ball to catch all of those. And it's beautiful. And this also is just the idea of routine and looking something up, having a reference source. I mean, it's a normal diary planner, and on each day it will tell you where the moon is, as in which star sign it's in, and it tells you where, with the massive planetary movements, when it's void of course, and of course the moon is void of course only 7% of the time. But if you shift any business arrangements so it's not then, it's supposed to be good luck and supposed to secure business deals better. And then you have your power days when the moon is supposed to be in your star sign. Now, I have not experienced this at all. My last 2 power sets of 3 days, I have been ill. I've either not got out of bed at all, or I haven't slept for a couple of nights before, and I spend that time unconscious. I don't know, it's just weird. But anyway, this is something that's really cool, and this is a table that shows when all of the planets are visible at different times of the year. And then there's a massive section on Mercury's retrograde, which is everyone's favourite part of each year, when we all go a bit screwed up in the head and we just blame Mercury. Blame Mercury. Or at least Tiptoe Chick does. But no, I totally agree. I'm completely out of sync when that's going on. And it's fascinating, just the act of learning and the act of writing down and keeping a record of what I've learned. Not only does it make it stick more, but I've set myself up to have this illusion of being proactive all the time. And I do like it. And I know that a lot of my day revolves around my pain, but I think now in my practice I am making my day revolve around the craft and how I use the craft to manage my pain, rather than the other way around. I just wanted to share that with you. When you're told, oh, it's really good to journal and write everything down, it doesn't always have to be about how you're feeling, and it doesn't always have to be about what's going on. Using this tool kind of quantifies your existence and quantifies your learning, and when you look back under a date and you see everything that you read about that you felt was necessary to write down, you know, it's the idea of achieving something. Now, I've never been away from school. I've never been, you know, I've stayed in full-time education until I was 23, and this is the first time that I've had this kind of time spare. I mean, I think a good example is my full moon ritual that I wrote. Now, I always obviously, I've now got this on paper, I've got it with me all the time, I can develop it and do things more, but I wrote this over maybe 3 days, and now when I look at it, I can see that this was hard work. I've discovered recently, actually, that my love of lyrics just completely lends itself to spell writing. And when I say spell writing, I don't mean spells in the Macbeth sense. I don't mean spells in the charmed sense. I mean spells as in poetry with intention is the only way that I can put it. I bought a rhyming dictionary a couple of months ago, and again, that was originally for writing lyrics for some songs, but it just makes sense to use something that I'm good at to channel my intentions for my life, whether I'm writing it for a song or not. I think things are different in terms of I don't have a lot of professional confidence. I don't have a lot of confidence in my human traits, to be honest. I've dipped in and out of a couple of relationships recently, and I think I've decided now that I don't like myself enough to want to be with someone else, because I can't understand why they'd like me. But almost in a pharmaceutical sense, I can appreciate something that my brain's good at. I hope that makes sense. Because I'm not saying, oh my god, I'm amazing, because that's not how I feel about it. I just think that I've been quite nifty in isolating something that my brain can manage and using it for another area of my life. And I've always, obviously, every time I've been talking about crystals, it's always been in the context of a meditation focus, and the only reason I got into it was because of the amount of pain I'm in. But it has really opened my life in so many different ways, and it doesn't matter to me anymore that my GP ridicules me, and it doesn't matter anymore to me that I think my mum thinks that I'm just going through a charmed phase. It doesn't matter to me, because I know that's not what it is. It's just about having goals educationally and life-wise. I think that's all it is. And sounds terrible, passes the fucking time. Reading a book that's easy to read and accessible and interesting about how to use crystals, or this book on connecting your body and mind through stretching. It's something that I should be doing to maintain my flexibility if I'm not going to go out because I'm in too much pain and I don't have any money to go out and do anything. But the way it's written is really interesting. And also, writing this book with Janet, I've been writing down, the theory behind visualization and you know, from all sorts of different sources, and some of it is my own take, and some of it is based on some videos and all sorts. I mean, I'm keeping record of everybody who needs some referencing. Obviously it's going to be proper, and I'm not going to be taking any shortcuts or passing off anything that's not my own as my own. And I think I've probably written the equivalent of maybe a chapter that's about 6 pages long. I have over 35 references so far, and I'm enjoying the research stage. I have no idea if I can actually write to the point where it would be accessible for someone else, but I'm enjoying finding the information that I want to kind of compile and put forward as a viable kind of what's it called, adjuvant treatment, a different, otherwise inert treatment that enhances the use of something else. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. I had a job interview yesterday for just a few receptionist hours at a GP, kind of just to get me out of the house, and because my main availability will be at weekends and in the evenings, because I want to set it up so if I get another job, I'll be able to easily work the pharmacy around this. If I get the job, it'll be 6 months maternity cover plus additional bank if they need it. So what I've actually applied for is just Friday, 3 hours on a Friday night and 6 hours on a Sunday. But of course, because it's Sunday and evening, it's better paid than it would be if I was doing it at any other time. So I think that'll probably make me about 60 quid a week or something. That's, just nice to be replenishing, especially when I haven't earned anything since September, and I'm still paying for my counselling and paying for massage, which I'm just keeping an eye on the time because I need to go and sort that out, because I haven't slept at all for the last couple of nights, and I think she might help me. Yeah. Proactiveness. I do rate it. Even if you're actually in the real world accomplishing nothing, earning little, not feeling very well, but you're reading, write a little bit down about everything you're doing, so when you look back in your diary or back in your journal, it's not time wasted. Set yourself targets. Keep yourself working towards something. And record the journey, because it's, you need to know anything that might come up in the general knowledge quiz. That's what my mother said. Most of it's useless information that I will never need to use. Not this generally, I mean the stuff that you pick up. Most of it's useless, but if it could come up in a general knowledge quiz, then it's not completely useless. Right. I do actually just want to plug this book again, actually. The Llewellyn's 2013 Astrological Pocket Planner. It's got everything in it that you could possibly need if you are sensitive to moon phases. Actually, I know the other thing. No, I'll make a separate video. I just want to do a quick video about that moon ritual that I wrote. Okay. I'll speak to you soon. Get in touch if you want anything, need anything. I'm always here for you. Yeah, no, I think that's everything. Bye, guys.